Microtransactions. They've been plaguing games for as long as I can remember in my adulthood. And I even remember when Black Ops 3 came out, a major reason why I stopped playing was all of the DLC content and microtransaction content that was coming out was just absurd. And it was even to a point where Call of Duty lost a core base of their fans due to excessive microtransactions. And I'm very sorry to say, but Sony has just placed a new patent for a microtransaction system that can be used on every single game that has been placed out for the PlayStation 4 and future games that are possibly to be put out for the PlayStation 5. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brian and this is Brian on an Island, where we do tech and gaming. And guys, a few weeks ago, Sony placed out their PlayStation 5 system. And we know that these come with two editions. There is a standard edition and there is a digital edition. Now the standard edition you can use with CDs, and the digital edition will be for gamers that don't want to have the physical copy of a game and they would just have to download it from Sony's PlayStation Store, which I am typically against because I always say when you buy the CD, you get a lot more bang for your buck. You could always trade that in for a better game, but that's a video for a different day. Now, a major question that I had when the standard and digital edition systems came out for the PlayStation 5 was, how is Sony going to make the money that they put into these systems? We know that these are being ranged roughly around the internet between £350 to £550. There have been some leaks on some foreign websites with some prices for the digital edition, some places even having it starting at £299. Now, at the time that I'm recording this video, these prices might be taken off of the internet, so it is still up in the air. The prices of these consoles are still very vague, but after Sony has placed their new patent and this has been leaked, I can kind of see where they're going to make money off of their PlayStation 5 system. Now, the patent that Sony has put in place is what's being referred to as a ask for help microtransaction system. The way this patent works is you could be either at a level stuck or fighting a boss, and all you would have to do is ask your PlayStation 5 system what's the easiest way to get out of this level or the easiest way to beat this boss. Your PlayStation system would run through some voice allocation software, figure out what it is that you're trying to ask, and then come back with a response. Now the response will be something like 80% of players have passed this level on their first try by having X amount of item A, and it would give you an option to purchase item A, and that would allow you to beat the boss or pass the level a lot quicker. Now, the only fear that I have with this is I remember playing God of War when it just came out, the new one, and guys, that game was one of the hardest PlayStation games I've ever played. It was a major difference between God of War 2, God of War 3, and even some of the God of War games that came out for the PSP, Chains of Olympus, and so forth. And I can only imagine if I was playing that game on a PlayStation 5 system and it was easy to press X and have a perfect amount of a certain item to power up and defeat a god, that I would spend the money. And this is where I think Sony is going to make a large amount of their proceeds moving forward into the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition and the PlayStation 5 Standard Edition. Now, looking at the console itself, I wasn't a big fan of the look of the peripheral, especially when I see it lying down. It just looks like a system that was a bit rushed to me and unfinished. And I know everyone has their opinions on the different systems. The Xbox new series that is coming out, a lot of people are saying that it looks like a box, and the PlayStation 5 has been referred to as a Wi-Fi modem. And that's where we are in 2020. I really thought Sony was gonna go for a sleeker design, something similar to their PlayStation 4, because when that sits on a desk vertically or horizontally, it just blends in seamlessly with your other equipment and it just works so well. Now, the problem that the PlayStation 4 had that a lot of people would witness is when playing newer games such as Horizon Zero Dawn or even much older titles like Dead by Daylight, the system becomes very loud and noisy. So I think that's what Sony tried to get away with the PlayStation 5 by making the system a lot more bulkier and having a lot more ridges to a lot more air to flow in and out. But the amount of money that they've put into the system for the specs that it's providing, even an SSD on a console in 2020, I really thought the price was going to be ranged between somewhere 650 pounds to 750 pounds, but that wasn't the case. I was very shocked to see people speculating the price of these two consoles between 300 pounds and 550 pounds. It's a bit lower end of the scale. We know that Sony has been known for making consoles very affordable. The most expensive console that they had come out was the PlayStation 3, and that sort of damaged their sales. So we know they're focusing on making it affordable and accessible to all. My biggest fear with the microtransaction system is that I think personally, Sony might be trying to bamboozle us into spending a lot more money than we need to spend. Going back to a similar game or a very hard game to play, God of War, there are Valkyries across the map that you have to destroy, and we all know if you've played that game, you really need to level up as much as possible before you can even think about challenging the Valkyries. Now imagine if every Valkyrie that you were able to get to, all you had to do was pay $9.99 and you would be powered up enough to defeat them without even having to block or having to challenge yourself. I think a lot of people would press that X button more than once. And if you have 12 or 14 Valkyries to destroy, by the time you spend 10 pounds to get powered up enough for each one, that's 140 pounds on one game that you've already spent 60 pounds on. Imagine every game that Sony sells for 60 pounds, they could make another 120 to 150 pounds on that game. Microtransactions have sadly reached their peak in the gaming world, but there is good news, all right? Hold up. Just because Sony have placed a patent for this system going into place doesn't necessarily mean that this is what's going to happen. We know that console players and big tech companies like Google, Sony, Tesla, they are putting patents out day by day, sometimes hundreds by the end of the week. So it doesn't necessarily mean that this patent will find its way on the PlayStation consoles when they're released this Christmas season. I really hope Sony takes into consideration the level of damage that these microtransactions might have on previous and future games, and I also wish gamers kind of unify against using these microtransactions to pass games, because it's something that's been slowly declining the gaming world and the fun that you can have, especially in multiplayer games when people can just buy these DLCs or microtransaction content that makes it easier for them to win against other opponents and dominate the game. It's basically like paying for cheating. But all in all, guys, that is the new PlayStation 5 news that I had. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on Sony implementing microtransactions on their PlayStation 5 console games. Let me know what you're most excited for coming out with the PlayStation 5. And I am also working on a video that is going to explain a patent that Sony has placed for the PSP. So if you still have your PSP system or your PS Vita system, don't throw it away just yet, because the PlayStation 5 looks like it's coming out with a lot of features and tools that I just wouldn't even put my finger on in 2020. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, make sure you drop a like and a subscribe, and I will see you guys the next time I upload. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I am out.